So, Tom, take it away.
Morning, everyone. So I would say definitely the best tip that I could give for research is to start with secondary sources. I know it's what they tell you in class. It might feel like a waste of time because you can't cite to them in the memo, but they will give you a better understanding of the issue, and they're going to cite to cases that are going to be helpful to you. Um, it's definitely going to give you a better understanding of the issue because trust me, I know how confusing it can be to try and understand the issue just from reading judicial opinions. Um, the secondary sources are going to give you a much better understanding. And if you understand the issue better, the research is going to come a lot easier. I didn't use secondary sources when I had the open memo. And then I decided to use secondary sources in the spring semester when we did the appellate brief. And I found a secondary source that just kind of outlined everything so easily for me, and it made my research a whole lot easier. It cited to a bunch of cases that I ended up using. It gave commentaries on them, and at that point, I realized, wow, I would have saved myself a lot of time if I found a secondary source like this for the open memo. Um, Make sure you look for them on both Lexis and Westlaw because they each have different secondary sources. Um, one, as far as cases go, one of the best ways that I found to find cases is to find one case on point in your jurisdiction. And then while you read through that case, right click and open in a new tab every other case that gets cited to, at least the ones that are in the jurisdiction. They might cite to cases outside your jurisdiction. And then do that with every case you read. And then what you're going to end up with is like this network of cases that all cite back to each other. And then if you do that right, you might end up finding just kind of the entire set of cases on that issue in your jurisdiction. If you find that you're kind of researching in circles, like you kind of keep circling back to the same cases over and over again, it might be a good indicator that you're done doing research. At that point, that's usually when I realize that it's probably time to start outlining for my writing, and make sure you spend time outlining. If you go straight from the researching into the writing, you're going to get lost and you're going to end up wasting a lot of time trying to figure things out. Don't start writing until you have a solid outline. The more time you spend outlining, the less time you're going to spend writing. Outlining is also where you're going to find out if you have too much or too little. And then that's when you'll realize, okay, I need to go back and do more research. Maybe start from the beginning. Maybe I missed something. If you get your outlining done early, you're going to end up having a lot more time to go back and do more research if you need to. Another really important thing is time management. The way that I approached my research and kind of gathering myself for the open memo was I used to spend just a little bit of time every day during the week working on the open memo, and then dedicate one day of the week where the open memo was the only thing I was going to work on. Like what I would do is I would spend anywhere from 15 minutes to maybe an hour tops, Monday through Thursday, even just doing a little bit of research, playing around with Lexis and Westlaw just to see what I could find, maybe just for a few minutes between classes. And then I would spend the entire day on either Friday or Saturday working on the open memo. I found that really nice because when you have one day to just focus on the memo and not focus on anything else, you could kind of push the rest of law school back for a second and kind of focus on your memo. Law school is really stressful as a whole, and the less stress you could have piled on at once, the better it's going to be, I promise. Another really good thing to do to make sure that you stay organized throughout the entire process. I don't know if everyone has access to a good printer. I know I don't right now. But if you're on campus and you have access to the library printers, one thing I would do is print out all of the sources that you're going to use, all your cases, statutes, secondary sources, print out everything and keep it all in one binder. And I used to carry that binder around everywhere. Even if I didn't have LAWR that day, I was taking my binder with me to every class, even if it was just to open things up and look at them for 5 or 10 minutes before I had a different class. All those little bits of time that you end up spending on it, they do add up. And if you don't have access to a printer and you can't print everything out, you can kind of do the same thing with the folder features on Lexis and Westlaw. You can even jot little notes. You could like write notes for cases in the folders. That's really helpful. This way you won't end up being in a situation where you remember reading a case, but you can't find it anywhere. You go, oh, I know I read this somewhere, and then you just can't find it. So that's my process. That's how I do everything. It's pretty much the same process at work when I'm doing research. It ends up being pretty much the same. But I don't want to take up any more of your class time. That's all I have for you guys. If you have any questions about researching or you just want someone to talk through it with, feel free to schedule an appointment with me. They're in my office hours. Good luck.